Gonna fix this like a Marvel movie in the edit. I hate the term EDC, and it's taken me a while to figure out exactly why the term makes me cringe so much. I've been seeing it amongst the tech YouTuber lifestyle-y sort of space for a while, and when I track down the origins of it, it comes from the American self-defense gun nut types. During the late 90s, as the internet was really kicking off, they used the term everyday carry to describe the things that they thought were essential survival tools to navigate the apparently dangerous American streets. The term itself seeped into other geeky, nerdy sort of territory, like the tech lifestyle space, at least as early as 2004. I haven't been able to track anything earlier than that via the forums of the Ars Technica website. Great website. And the fact that forums are still live, really good resource to have for discussions on old technology. It's partly my fault, really, for allowing the YouTube algorithm to serve me up so much technology lifestyle content. And I'm going to use the word content in quotation marks a little bit here, because everyday carry as a format isn't really there to spark any sort of intellectual insight or educate anyone. A lot of people doing it would say, oh, it's there for entertainment value. But even that, it doesn't really make you think. It doesn't really generate anything other than maybe a little bit of an ASMR aesthetic buzz for some folks. I don't really get the ASMR thing either, but that's a whole other issue. The term everyday carry is meant to be about finding the optimum setup. The things that you have narrowed down in terms of your gadgets, your gizmos, your equipment, to the essentials that you know you must have all the time. Now, for a lot of people, there's a really obvious one. We all have to have our phones. Technically, this is an everyday carry item. But one of the things that I think has really started to annoy me, and this goes for a few other categories of YouTube tech content as well, is that a lot of the people making everyday carry content are lying to everybody a little bit. It might be what they're carrying right now, but it won't be what they're carrying in a couple months. Part of the reason is because tech YouTubers, especially more prominent ones, go through a massive churn of equipment, either because they're putting more wear and tear on it instead of having to buy new gear more regularly, or in the majority of cases because they receive a lot of equipment and goods from manufacturers as part of their sponsorships. You can see this fairly regularly in some circles where they change phone every other month. And so what is their quote-unquote daily driver? I mean, honestly, I don't like that term very much either. Something about that one makes me cringe too. It isn't really the same. And maybe when they're talking about what their regular personal device is, it's the thing they use on weekends, which, you know, is 2 out of 7 days of the week. A minority of the time, not majority. I think that the other thing is that EDC paints itself a lot as aspirational content, as if you can have the perfect setup too. When for a lot of people, they can't afford to experiment that much. I know I can't. And to be fully transparent, I mean, I have too many devices, partly because of my work when I was doing a lot of software testing. I have a few Android tablets. I have a couple of iPads. I bought all these things for work, for that position. If I didn't have that job, I wouldn't have those things. That was an investment in my work. But most people don't have the luxury of trial and error. They just have to go with the safe option, the boring option. When people are not upgrading phones as often, it's partly because they can't afford to upgrade more often. They need their phone to work for 3, 4, 5 years because they can't afford to upgrade. They can't have gear acquisition syndrome destroying their finances when they've got kids to feed. And sometimes I feel like these tech lifestyle folks can lose touch with reality a little bit. It doesn't say they're bad people or they're deceiving their audiences, but they're living a life that most of us don't really ever get to have for ourselves. And this even goes for folks I really like. We'll use an example. Becca Farsace recently uploaded a video about a quirky camera. It looked like a remote control, like a silver remote. And from what I can tell, it features 2 really bad webcam cameras in it. And it has a clip limit of 30 seconds. And it's expensive and generally terrible. But she didn't lambast it for that. And she didn't bring any of that up. I think part of that is subconscious a little bit, because she was sent it. She didn't pay for it out of her own pocket. And she even pointed out in the same video, she has a drawer full of cameras that she gets sent and that she doesn't use. Now, well, one, obviously, I'm thinking, well, that's great e-waste going forward. You know, like if all these tech YouTubers, you can see they start building out a warehouse full of things. And sometimes it's because they want to test those things against the newer models or do retrospectives for a design or a brand. And I guess that makes sense from a content generation perspective. Again, not something an ordinary person can do, not something an ordinary person can experience. And when your everyday carry changes every day, it's not an everyday carry anymore. I guess the question is, what is the point of this video? Well, it's to point out that I don't want to become a tech lifestyle YouTube channel. I like technology. I like gadgets. I'm a massive nerd. I'm always testing and learning new software skills. But I'm going to only make videos about things that I think are universal in some capacity or genuinely interesting and innovative. Projects that I think are pushing the next level. I'm not going to just do aesthetic lifestyle content because I don't think it's realistic. It's not honest. It certainly isn't my actual life. I could talk about the gadgets I have and go, oh, well, you should have all these things too. Well, no, because most people don't need all those things. They're all slowly falling out of the software support windows, so that's great. And also, don't buy Google Pixels at the moment. They seem to have something weird with the batteries going on, so that's just great too. If you do like technology as a hobby, it's expensive. I think the other thing as well is that a lot of the tech lifestyle content that revolves around this concept of everyday carry feeds into people's gear acquisition syndrome, which I know is a little bit of a meme, a little bit of a joke online. But at the end of the day, it's the urge to constantly acquire new things for your setup. And I fall for this a little bit too. It's part of the problem when you're interested in multiple mediums that all revolve around different technologies, like music and photography and videography and whatever else. At the end of the day, my financial constraints keep things in check. There's certain things I cannot spend too much money on because I cannot afford it. And that's the same for most people. The statistics show that most people are only one bad event away from complete bankruptcy. And at the moment, that would probably go for me too, really. I can't afford to get severely ill or injured because all of my work involves me being able to get out and about. I'm just going to appreciate the few things I do have in my collection and learn to use them to the maximum that I can. You won't be seeing unboxing videos from me. You won't be seeing reviews of things that are completely inaccessible to the general person. I certainly won't be saying, oh, you definitely need this or you need that or this is the perfect bag, because there isn't such a thing as a perfect setup. There never has been. There's only what you can afford with whatever compromises you can put up with that doesn't annoy you too much.